What's up, YouTube? I'm Liora Sophie. I'm an author of urban fantasy and spiritual fiction, and welcome to the Writer's Hometown Tag. When I started my channel, the idea was to make it a resource for writers rather than just go up and give writing advice, because I don't think I'm qualified to give advice. Writers spend a lot of time researching the settings that their books are set in. I thought if everybody could just make one video talking about a town they know really well or a setting they know really well, and we could have a whole bunch of them together, that could potentially save writers a lot of time, a lot of research. It could really help with the setting and description part. If you have more than one hometown, make 2 videos. Don't worry if someone else has already made a video about your particular town, because everyone has a different perspective, and the more the merrier. Let's get to the questions. 1. What is your hometown? Make sure to tell us where it is, why is it, and how did it come to this? Thank you, Qwordy, for the excellent additions to some of the questions. In this video, I'm going to talk about one of my many hometowns, Jerusalem, Israel. Describe the challenges a person might encounter while taking a walk around your neighborhood. So weather, terrain, population density, anything that feels relevant. Let's talk about the weather. We joke that we have 4 seasons: summer, holiday season, mud season, and war. Jerusalem weather is probably one of the main things that inspired me to write my urban fantasy series, Witches and Demons, in which one of the types of demons are weather demons. Jerusalem weather is so fickle that it might as well be some moody guy in charge of it somewhere who's just like, well, screw this, I feel cranky. Rain, mud. So here's a picture of me in the winter wearing a heavy winter coat and sunglasses that pretty much encompasses it. In the summer, I just try not to go outside, but sometimes you have to. And when I do, I have like a bazillion layers of sunscreen, hat, sunglasses. I need a daylight ring, is what I'm saying. So challenges you might encounter if you're taking a walk around my neighborhood. You might walk into a random lottery booth. You'll just walk down the street and there'll be this little tiny hut that a dude is sitting in and can give you a lottery ticket, and that's all they sell there. You might walk into a car that is parked on the sidewalk, 100% on the sidewalk. I'm not even kidding. Also, surprise cat might jump out at you from a dumpster. You never know. The winter is... Inside is colder than outside sometimes, not because of the temperatures, because to be honest, I just spent a winter here in Western Massachusetts, and I think I might have worn my winter coat once, even though the temperatures were consistently lower than the average temperature in Jerusalem. The cold is this wet, piercing cold. Like, you'll get rain falling like 1,000 knives in your face. It chills you to the bone, and you go inside and the buildings are terribly insulated and they're not heated well. Here is a helpful chart that I made explaining how to use an umbrella when it rains. Shows the rest of the world where you're holding the umbrella over your head normally, and in Jerusalem the person is holding it out sideways to shield themselves from a car splashing in a puddle nearby, because terrible drainage. Really, it looks like Venice sometimes. Here's a fun fact that my mom just contributed about Jerusalem. We get one snow day, like maybe once every 3 years, and it's a freaking national holiday. I mean, everything shuts down, everything. There aren't even really snow plows. We can't move. It's just happy snow holiday, everybody. People say that. They do. They say happy snow holiday. And apparently there's some epic tradition of, is it Palestinian-Israeli snowball fights? Yes. Palestinian-Israeli snowball fights. Amicable snowball fights. Less amicable are when the year course kids throw snowballs at the cars because nobody knows how to drive in the snow. Question 3. What is the architecture like? A lot of the buildings are made out of this white Jerusalem stone. It's almost not allowed to build a house out of anything else. And this is everywhere. A lot of the buildings are made out of this stuff. This stone has a very cool effect that happens, which is when the sun goes low in the sky, the stone kind of looks gold. If you look at at Jerusalem in a sunset. It looks like it's sort of washed in gold, whence its nickname, Jerusalem of Gold. Flooring is tile. There's literally no wood, like anywhere. It's just a very dry climate. Most things are made out of stone, concrete. Also, fireplace is not really a thing. I mean, some people have them. You gotta know where to go. What is something young people do that might piss off someone from an older generation? It's the same stuff they did when they were young, right? I mean, they go out at night, they're loud. There is a blatant disregard for authority in general, but that's cultural. It's not specific to Jerusalem, but it is very true to kind of a lot of Israel. Is the population homogenous or diverse? And are people spread out or in each other's hair? Jerusalem is probably one of the most diverse places on earth. Israel as a country is generally very diverse, and then it sort of peaks. No, there are a lot of places that are diverse, but Jerusalem is one of them. People of every race, every religion, every gender, every political affiliation. It's just a giant fruit salad of all the colors and all the people, and that can make it kind of intense. It can be a little stressful sometimes. One key thing to remember is that it's a city that is home to major holy sites for all three monotheistic religions. So Judaism, Christianity, and Islam all have holy places in this one city. So there are a lot of each of those. There are atheists, secular of all the religions, people who grew up one way and then chucked it out the door. We've got everything. Also, very densely populated. So all these people who are very different from each other are also living right in each other's kishkas. Kishkas means intestines in Yiddish. It also means like in each other's space. On top of each other. 6. What is your hometown's infrastructure like? How do people get around? How do people get to work? You know, by car, bike, do they walk, train, bus, magic carpet? Picture this. The 18 bus is supposed to arrive every 20 minutes, and you've been waiting for an hour, and then 2 of them show up at once. Despite all of our complaints, the truth is that the bus system in Jerusalem is pretty good, and we also have a light rail that services half of the city. The city wasn't really designed for everyone to own a car, and yet a lot of people do own cars now, so there's a severe parking crisis. People just park like wherever, and so you can sometimes be on the bus, and then another bus will come from the opposite direction, and the 2 buses will just kind of stare at each other. You back up. No, you back up. I'm not backing up. You back up. This street really should be one way. Jerusalem is in the mountains. There are more uphills than downhills. You discover this if you ever try to ride a bike. People walk long walks. I mean, sometimes I would go out downtown at night and I would walk the 45 minutes home. It's nice out at night. 7. Somebody called an emergency hometown meeting. When you get there, you discover it's not actually an emergency. What's it about? Attention all, the very squishable, soft beanbag cushions in the plaza outside the municipality are actually hard rock concrete. Do not flop over onto them, you will die. This is a real thing. Local cuisine. What do the locals get for takeout, street food, fine dining, and what do they cook for themselves at home? So takeout, pizza, burgers, sushi, you know, pretty much everything. We have all the cuisines. What I know about fine dining. Street food, there's falafel and shawarma. That's not the only thing, but it is one of the things people eat. So here's one detail you should know. That character who's always hungry, they get it in a laffa. It's like a giant wrap-up sandwich of meat scraped right off the spit in front of them. And as for cooking, everything. I mean, people just cook what they like. Israel has amazing produce. So the fresh vegetables are just rich and sweet and really tasty. We grill, we fry, we saute, we roast, whatever. Everything. It is possible to get unkosher food in Jerusalem if you know where to go. Smells. What is that one plant that's just everywhere? What's in the air that might be awkward to explain to a child? One of the things that grows wild all over Jerusalem is rosemary. This is actually very common for a lot of Israel and I think a lot of the Middle East. Another plant that comes to mind is honeysuckle. Sometimes I'll just be walking down the street and all of a sudden get this huge cloud of just this sweet honeysuckle. And you look up in these little white and yellow flowers that you can pick, and then if you're very, very gentle and you pull the little thread out, you can sort of suck a little bit of, they have this nectar that's kind of sweet. Only in the spring though, really. In the fall, fig trees. There'll just be a random fig tree somewhere dropping figs. What's in the air is really a lot of cigarette smoke. There's a lot of smoking. I sometimes associate cigarette smoke with downtown Jerusalem. Sounds. What does your street sound like at 7 a.m., 8 p.m.? What does it sound like when it's quiet or loud? Is there a kind of music that sounds like your hometown? In the morning, it sounds like birds and construction. We actually joke that the crane is Israel's national bird. Morning traffic, people honking at each other. People honk. Drivers are incredibly impatient. And at night, it's quiet. I mean, it's a city. You still have city noise. Downtown Jerusalem is a very fun, upbeat place. If you walk down the Midrachov, Ben Yehuda Street is a type of street called a Midrachov, which is a mashup in Hebrew of the words street and sidewalk. So it's like a street walk. Is a street that cars are not allowed to drive down. The whole thing is for pedestrians. It's this wide, just pedestrian street. If you go downtown Thursday or Saturday night, there's drumming and street musicians and loud year course kids who are there for the year to look up the roots of their heritage and actually end up finding it in the fact that all of a sudden the drinking age is 18 and not 21. Americans are very loud. The music is just kind of everything. I don't think I've ever heard Hava Nagila once walking in downtown Jerusalem. You can walk into a store downtown and they'll be playing Taylor Swift. It happens. What languages do people speak? Give an example of a slang term that is associated with your hometown. Israel has a couple official languages: Hebrew, English, and Arabic. All the signs are in Hebrew, English, and Arabic. A lot of Russian speakers, French, let's not forget Amharic. Arabic is an extremely diverse language. The dialects change a ton. Arabic spoken in Jerusalem is actually a different dialect than Arabic spoken in the north. There also are specific words that only people who live in Jerusalem use in Hebrew. One example of this is Abu Yo-Yo, which means piggyback. And here's another slang term I'm going to give you, not specific to Jerusalem, but is specific to the Hebrew language and says a lot about us culturally. Davka. Comes from Aramaic, but is used in Hebrew. Formally, it can be used to mean on the contrary, but it also means to do something on purpose just to piss someone off. Environmental awareness. Do people recycle? Do people litter? Is there graffiti? The holy city of Jerusalem has a lot of trash on the ground. People smoke and then just toss their cigarette butt on the street, and it's terrible. It's not okay. Wrappers and like gum stuck to the trash cans. On the other hand, I lived in 3 different apartments that each had a building compost pile, recycling bins on pretty much every corner for plastic and for paper. What is a harmless prank the locals might pull on a tourist? The locals love overcharging Americans, especially when they're like really loud and rude. Especially also when they come in thinking taxis are safer than buses. Someone who has heard of your hometown but never actually been there asks you, is it safe? This is the place to give them the answer they deserve. Let them have it. Listen to me. Jerusalem is safe, okay? It is. It's one of the safer places. I can walk around at night alone. There are neighborhoods that are creepier than others. There isn't really a lot of crime. If anyone is carrying a gun, it's because they're a security guard on duty. People look out for each other. People watch each other's backs. If there are kids without parents at a park, somebody will bring them home. Not in a kidnapping way, just in a like, have you guys eaten sort of way. It's safe. I know there's a lot of media that kind of might portray it as otherwise, but if Sandy Hook was the only thing you ever heard about Connecticut, Connecticut is less safe than Jerusalem, definitely. Describe a location from your hometown that is not well known, but a character might be sentimental about. From the holy city of Jerusalem, Israel, I give you the Malakia. It's a teensy soup restaurant in like some secret alley in downtown Jerusalem. Kind of like the Leaky Cauldron. If you don't know it's there, you won't see it. The whole entire thing is like probably like the size of this room, maybe. Something like that. It's just so cute. Their menu is written on a blackboard in chalk, and they make soups. One of the things that makes it really appealing is it's extremely affordable, and if you really don't have a lot of cash on you, you can order half a bowl of soup, and a half bowl of soup is half the price of one full bowl of soup, which is like amazing for a restaurant. Their food is really good. Really good. Really cutesy place to hang out, great place to go on a date. There's like an ancient piano. You can open it and play and it works. It just, looks like it's probably 1,000 years old. Also, they only take cash. And there's a link to their Facebook page in the description because I didn't want to use any pictures. Go check it out. What is your hometown's nemesis? And I mean like Nemesis town, And what do the people who live in your hometown think of the people who live there? Tel Aviv. Just because the airport is there doesn't mean it's the capital. It is not the capital. Also, let's see, what do people think about Tel Avivians? They don't wear pants. They navigate according to where the beach is. Tel Avivians know where north, south, east, and west are at any given point because one of them is always the beach. But in Jerusalem, we're just surrounded by hills. Sun is up. I don't know which way is what. Tel Avivians, they don't have jobs. They're all gay and high. It's not entirely inaccurate. Similarly to New York, where New York thinks that they're the entirety of the United States, we actually call it the state of Tel Aviv. What is an experience that is just like, OMG, that is so your hometown? Mention you don't have plans for Friday night and see how fast you are invited to a complete stranger's home to have dinner with their family. Public transportation shutting down at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday. That does kind of have a plus side because then Friday, Saturday, Shabbat, it's like this sacred silence descends upon the city. There's nothing quite like it. There's nothing quite like that morning coffee at 10 o'clock on a Saturday with the silence of Jerusalem. You can walk down the middle of the street. You should look both ways, but you can. There are some neighborhoods where you really don't have to watch out. And sometimes you'll walk by and hear people singing from synagogues, which are like every 10 feet also. You know how in some places there's a McDonald's in walking distance from every single house? Well, it's like that in Jerusalem, but for synagogues. So if you don't like one, you go to the other one, which is also within walking distance from your house. Losing your wallet on the bus and then having someone call you to return it to you full of all the cash. Riding the train and having a Muslim woman on one side and a Qwordy man on the other side. I mean, yeah, like not touching you, but like there. Every kind of person. All need to take the train, right? Give an example of bad representation of your hometown. Trump announcing that he recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Jerusalem has in fact been the capital of Israel since Trump was in diapers. It was always the friggin' capital. An author who has never been to your hometown would like to write a scene set there. What are some good resources to research it? I'm going to give you some keywords to look up. Start with the famous landmarks. We're talking the Wailing Wall, also known as the Western Wall, Mahane Yehuda Market. The Jerusalem wiki page is actually pretty comprehensive. The thing to understand about it is that there's so much history. It's a very history-rich city. And so getting that background knowledge in, how has the city changed over the past 2,000 years is a very good way to get a feel for what's going on. Ask a person who lives there. What is one tip you can offer on writing description and scenery? Here are my 2 things that I remember when I'm writing description and scenery. Number 1, nothing happens nowhere. That just sort of reminds me to describe where things are happening. Because it's very easy for me, because dialogue is my strong suit, it's very easy for me to just have an entire conversation and happening in a gray void somewhere. So yeah, nothing happens nowhere. The second thing is everything is observed by an observer. So when you're describing something, take into account who is describing it and what are the details that that person notices that maybe somebody else wouldn't? What stands out to them? Or what do they feel about the things that they notice? And now it is time for tag 3 AuthorTubers, and let's see how many different hometowns we can get. Because the idea of this project is to create a big bank of hometown videos so we can have as many as possible. And if someone wants to write something set in God knows where, then, you know, maybe this can help them a little bit with the research. We gotta reach people. So I'm gonna start by tagging Qwordy and BuryBadBooks and Joey. I appreciate you. Let's hear about your hometown. And Alec, you published a book. And Eva, because you talk about it all the time, so make a video. And you, because this is a project that is only going to really reach its potential if the more people contribute. Make that video about your hometown. Don't do any research, just get in front of the camera and talk. So, if you enjoyed this video, please drop a like, hit the subscribe, ring that little bell so you know when I go live with the occasional writing sprints. Oh, I have links now. I have links now. If you enjoy the content that I make, please consider buying me a coffee. With your support, I am able to write my books and keep creating my content. I really appreciate all of it. And soon I'll also have my Patreon up, and people who become patrons will get a shout out and all sorts of other awesome things that are going on that page. If you make this video, don't forget to use the hashtag. What's the hashtag? Writer's Hometown. When we get enough of them, I'll make them into a playlist and we can maybe feature it on, you know, I don't know, AuthorTube groups, website, whatever. We'll see. This could be a really amazing resource if enough people participate. And if it goes well, I'm gonna make a whole bunch of these on different themes. So join in on the fun. Post a link to the original video in the description. Let me know you made one and I'll add it. See you around the tube. Bye!